All right. No, how exciting, guys. Welcome. Session number 2. This is going to be a great session because after this we take a little break for the holidays. So it's really nice to see everyone here this morning. Excited to get this session going because we dive even deeper into our assessments. And so with that, let's just get right into it. Thanks for being here this morning, Dr. Hank.
Okay, you bet. Good morning. You guys are just amazing. I really appreciated your feedback on starting to develop your professional plan as well as your personal plan. And just a word about that the professional plan pretty much is based on the business. Your personal plan can be something within your personal life. And some of you said, hey, I really want to provide for my daughters and take them to Mexico for a trip and things like that. It also could be on some personal things on how you want to just improve your communication with other people. And what I pretty much saw from your development plan so far, which we're going to further develop and get into and be able to really understand where we are, especially with this information that we received today, that we saw that it's really about qualifying and doing a more effective job in qualifying people. And what I noticed there is we were looking at 2 areas of qualifying. And the first is, am I talking to the right person? And so, someone that is needs insurance, has a need for health insurance, wants to save money, that ideally when it's a referral partner, are they connected to other businesses, probably small businesses where they don't have a health plan provided. And so, we want to get into those different companies, and am I talking to the right referral partner? And so that is just, right on as far as us qualifying and really making sure, number one, that we're talking to the right person. But then you guys also brought up on when I qualify that I need to make sure that I'm qualifying on what they need. And so there's 2 things. Am I talking to the right person? And then secondly, am I talking do I understand what they need? Am I qualifying them for what type of, for example, health insurance program that they really need? And most of you with your behavior styles, and you've identified this, that you really need to slow down and you need to ask more questions, and we all can do a better job at listening. So hopefully you really got that out of that first session about doing this. And remember, this is advanced sales training. This is just going to tweak it. You guys are the best of the best, and that's why you're in this sales training. And so I really want you, especially this morning, to have an open mind and to be really looking at, what am I going to discover today that I've never known before? The poison pill of all training and development is to think you already know it. And I can guarantee you that on this, you haven't seen this information ever before. And we're basically going to discover that there's 6 ways that people make decisions, and you're going to be able to start picking up how they make decisions and start talking the language of what's important to them, which we call motivations or values. What's motivating them? And with behaviors, we can see it, right? We can see on how they are that, they're real aggressive, that are they talking a lot, are they pretty introverted, that's the DIS there. The C, are they about data? Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how do they make decisions. And the only way you're going to find that out is by really doing an active job on listening, asking questions, and based on their answers and based on what they're asking and concerned about, you're going to understand how they make decisions. You're also going to understand how you make decisions, so that you're in a world where you think, oh, everybody makes decisions the way that I do. You just think it makes sense. But the fact is there's 6 different ways that people make decisions. And we're going to learn about that today. So it's really exciting. And we're going to learn about the 6 motivations. So our agenda, and you can please ask any questions that you have. I think I have you open all right now, that if you do want to talk, you can talk. And so, because right now it's pretty quiet, probably because it's so early in the morning, nobody's up but us guys, and which is awesome too, because it says that, hey, we really care about wanting to build our businesses, build our income levels for 2017, to be able to provide for our families, to be able to really make a difference here, leave a legacy. And you guys again mentioned a lot of those points in what you want to do. And so I'm here, and PJ and I are here to help you do that. So we're going to look at the 6 motivators of mankind. We're going to start seeing the world through the prospect, not through our own way of making decisions and what's important to us, but really opening ourselves up to seeing it through the prospect. We're going to identify our ideal referral partner, and I want to get more into this, that each of you had responded that you've seen like at least one referral partner. Some of you have several referral partners that you get referrals from every week. And in fact, just on that one, that altogether, that participant had shared that they're getting 4 referrals a week. Well, if you would close every one of those referrals, would you have an increased chance of closing when you get a personal introduction from an ideal referral partner into an ideal client? That what you'll do is you'll increase your close rate significantly. But let's just say you have 100% close rate, then in 50 weeks in the year, let's call a couple of years for the vacation in Mexico with the kids or whatever, or the spouse, or to go and enjoy your life and enjoy all the hard work that you've done and the mental focus that you've had, and the tweaking now of you being such a sales professional that you become irresistible. And so I want you to think about yourself as just irresistible. But think of that, if you do 50 weeks and you get 4 referrals, that's 200 deals and a year. And if you assume $1,000, that's $200,000 per year for you. And so maybe that's a good way for you to start looking at, wow, that this is how I could do it. And you probably need more referrals than that, right? Because probably you're not going to be at 100%. But, how do I get now 5 more referrals every week, or 6 or 8? Or how do I land a fairly large company that doesn't have a health insurance program where I can go in and be able to offer them, and I can knock it out of the park and maybe get 200 just in one shot, in one referral? And so I want you to start expanding your imagination and embracing how important these ideal referral partnerships can be. Also, we'll define our ideal client. And so I want us to be really clear, because see, the clearer we are on who our ideal client is, the more effective we're going to be able to talk to our ideal referral partner on, hey, this is who we're looking for. And so I suspect that we're looking for more of an ideal referral partner that would be connected into these smaller companies, that's well connected into them, that knows HR. And again, in those things I want us to discuss. So initially at maybe the first hour, and we'll take a break here at around 8 o'clock, we'll take a break and for a couple of minutes like we did last time, and then we'll get back into it. And that second hour is really going to be about you guys talking and you guys, sharing with, hey, what is our ideal referral partner? What is our ideal client? And And then I want us to share on, and tell us about our referral partner this past week. So, how did that conversation go? Did you change it a little bit more to the conversation that I'm recommending about, will you ask, will you help me? So the first thing is, will you help me? Thank you for your help. And then to share with them your goal, and then to share your ideal client, and then to share who do you know, not do you know, because I'm telling you that really everybody knows people that, because most people know about 250 people, and so thus they're connected enough in order to get you those type of referral partners, those type of referrals, so that you can, again, earn $200,000 a year. Have it a lot easier where you don't have to work, 12 hours a day or whatever. And I know you guys are working a lot of hours, but I'd like to see you working less hours and being more effective. And hopefully you do too, because that's part of this process also, is to help you just become a master at sales, master at understanding people and the psychology of people, and getting into really asking those questions, understanding who you are and how to slow it down, how to listen more effectively, and really how to be this master. And then we'll look at developing your 2017 business plan and discuss that a little, and both professionally and personally. So that's our agenda for today. And any questions, comments before we get going? All right, we're going to look at the 6 motivations of mankind. What you're going to learn today is something, again, that you have not been exposed to before. And normally people have to be exposed to new ideas about 6 times before they will really accept that idea. And so, but in your case, that you guys are wise, you've known people, so you kind of know this. You just haven't put it into, like, for example, you kind of know the behaviors, but now you know exactly what the behaviors are. You kind of know where in your mind where to put a box, if you will, and understand, oh, there's the DISC, and then how do I modify my behaviors? Well, now we're talking about the 6 motivations and understanding on how others make decisions. So you kind of know some of these areas that we'll discuss, but now it's going to be to where you're going to really have a handle on that. Wow, people make decisions differently than I do, and so I need to be aware of that. And we're going to look at our own assessment and see where sometimes some of you are so high with your motivation out of one of the 6 motivations. You're so high that you don't understand why other people don't make decisions like you. And so it's going to be very mind-opening to be aware of, wow, here I've been always talking my language to other people, and here I can start talking the language of what they want to hear so that they can make a positive decision in what we're looking for. So if you know how they are motivated, you will know how to speak their language. Motivations are also what people value, so it can be also value. It's what motivates people. It's what they value. It's what makes people act and say yes. We naturally sell to our own motivations. Whatever our motivations are, each one of us live in our own world. And so whatever motivations that we have, we think that's how I need to sell to other people, how to talk to other people, how to offer to other people. The fact is that there's these 6 different motivations, so it's not just your 1 or 2 top motivations, but there's other ways in order to speak to people's motivations so you get to yes. And this will help you sell to the prospect's motivations. And one of the keys here is, and what most of you have discussed, because most of you are DIs and high Ds, have a tendency to take over the conversation, have a tendency to get right into it, and have a tendency to close. And that's all great, other than we're dealing with 40% of the population that are steadies that don't like it that way. And so for us to start listening now to what are they saying, and so I need to listen more, I need to slow it up more, and I really need to back up and realize that this is a 2-way communication, and the most important of that 2-way communication is their way back to you. So you want to listen to what they say to know their motivation. So we're going to go into the first motivation, and it's theoretical. And what I would suggest you do is you write down notes now. I don't want you multitasking, please. That, we purposely did it early in the morning. So, and we won't be together until January 9th again now. But you will be developing, more of this and understanding it. But I would really recommend that you, write down the definition, and write down all 6 of them and really immerse yourself into this information. It's the key to what makes the difference between a regular salesperson and the superior salesperson, and that's where you're moving to. You guys are already good. I'm just making you gooder, if you will. And so theoretical, what is that? And so the quick and easy answer on that is it's the love of knowledge. And so and so think about, I want the love of that. Some people just love knowledge. So what is that? The primary driver with this value is that they want the discovery of knowledge, and they have an appetite for learning. So in pursuit of this value, an individual takes a cognitive attitude. So these are people and, kind of examples to start understanding on that when people are asking a lot of information about like the health insurance, and, we had one of the objections that I'd like us to discuss and be open of, and us to email after this as well in the next couple of weeks, is we had this one prospect say, based on your material, this is not health insurance, but supplemental. It doesn't meet ACA, not acceptable for me. And so what do we, need to understand there? Well, that one of the things this prospect needs is they need to, they have this thirst of knowledge. They have an appetite for learning, and they need to understand what we're actually offering and how most things, insurance policies, don't meet ACA, and why ours is so effective, and why it would be good for them. So this takes time to be able to share. This knowledge takes time, and again, because most of you are these heavy D's and you want to get it done quick, that's where we want to slow down. Such an individual is non-judgmental regarding the beauty or utility of objects and seeks only to observe and to reason. So they don't have a prejudice, and so you want to look at, for example, this response on this prospect saying, well, this is an insurance, it's supplemental, that we don't want to take this stuff personal. And that what we want to do is just understand that, people, they're just trying to understand, and they are reasonable. They don't have a prejudice against this or against you. And since the interests of the theoretical person are empirical, critical, and rational, the person appears to be intelligent. And so there's one of the tip-offs is when you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is a really intelligent person, that probably they're talking about knowledge and that they want to just understand more, and you want to take more time in order to share with them this knowledge. The chief aim in life is to order and systematically knowledge and acknowledge for the sake of knowledge. So they want to systemize the whole, the thinking and the understanding. And I think that we have, in some things, depending on what you're offering, if you're offering a a pill that does something, or a lotion that looks beautiful. There's not too much knowledge in that. In this, we have a lot of knowledge that we need to share. And so I want you to really lighten up on when people ask questions about this, or when people say, oh, it doesn't even meet ACA. what you want to do is have this attitude, not an attitude of, oh boy, here we go again. It's like, oh, this is great. This person is seeking knowledge and just doesn't understand yet. So I'm going to help them to understand. And so I'm so excited about this. So you want to be excited. You want to be at a high vibration. You want to be feeling good, and you want to bring that across to them as you do that. So that's theoretical. And I'm putting this in the order, by the way, of where most people are. So most people, out of the six motivations, that they're very high one motivation, and then a second one, and then the other four they typically aren't real high on. And so you'll be able to pick up what they are, and I'm giving you to what we have. We do continual research and data on this in the United States on where are these values, and they are changing. The values are changing, and we'll get to that, but aesthetic is one value that's actually increasing. But this is in the order of that you want to be thinking of when you're talking to people. You want to think about, hey, do they have a thirst for knowledge? And now the next one is individualistic. And so these people are wanting to be the best and number one and have power. So I love using the real estate example here, where a client will say, oh, I want this biggest house in the neighborhood. And the real estate agent usually responds, oh, no, don't do that, because if you get the biggest house in the neighborhood, you won't get a good return long term. You won't get, the dollar per square foot, and so it won't be very valuable. But see, that real estate agent was talking to another one that's called another value motivator called utilitarian, a return on investment. But some people, that they're not as interested as what the return on investment is or what the knowledge is. They just want to be the best number one and have the power. And so in our case, in health insurance, that I want the best health insurance. And so most of us are, always talking about cost, and that's fine to keep that in there. But realize that not everybody is as interested in cost as there may be other things that they're more interested in. And so again, by listening to people, you're going to start understanding, that they start saying, hey, I want the best insurance. I want to be able to cover my family and everything. I want to know we're the best. And so I like your 10 Stevie Awards in the last 4 years, that, that actually, by having that on your email, that at the bottom of your email and listing the 10 Stevie Awards, that and the actual pictures of the awards there, the bronze and the silver and all the different ones that we have, that it's going to be able to help you to address that individualistic, and that's what they're looking for. The individualistic is looking most for wanting to be the best, wanting to be number one, and having the power. And again, if you guys can come in with any ideas on that, if you could share with, oh yeah, I was with a client, because I want you to actively be thinking about, what clients have I ran into that have been theoretical, liking knowledge, or have been individualistic, wanting to be number one. The primary interest is value, is power. Research studies indicate that leaders in most fields have a high power value. So which means when you're talking to a possible CEO or owner of a company, and they're growing and they're fast and they want to provide, they're at the point now thinking about providing some benefits for their organization, and they're looking for health insurance that at least is affordable, so they can be the great one, the number one company, the number one person, the one in power, showing, hey, I got great health insurance for you guys to be able to purchase. Well, if you're talking to CEOs, they probably are very high individualistic. and that they're leaders in their field, and they want to have a high power value, and they have a high power value. And since competition and struggle play a large part in all areas of life, many philosophers see power as the most universal and most fundamental of motives. So, just historically, and to know that it's typically about number two now, overall, when you're meeting with people, it's theoretical and then it's individualistic. And so to recognize that, wow, this is an important one, and I want to see, because again, people always aren't concerned about the cost. All of you are very high utilitarian, which we're going to get to with the return on investment. And I've noticed you've added a lot of information about cost. Now, for sure, cost is important because of the rising costs of health insurance, et cetera. But know that they're going to actually make a decision based on something else, because we already have them beat on cost. We can just say that, but you really want to be sensitive to, hey, in addition to cost, what do they want? They want the best program there. There are, however, certain personalities in whom the desire for direct expression of this motive is uppermost, who wish above all for personal power, influence, and to be renowned. And so you want to look for those people, and you want to say, hey, I get it, and as I look at and most of you, that you have a high ideal of being individualistic. And so for most of you, this is one of your hot buttons. This is who you are. And so the good news is that a lot of other people, it's a hot button on wanting to be number one. But that's one of the reasons why, like in your, when you responded in your development plan, why you were talking about the way that you want to be the best. You have high goals. You want to achieve a lot. You want to make a lot of money, and that is again typical of the individualistic. Now, utilitarian, and this is number three, and understand that usually it's the top two that is going to influence people on how they're going to make a yes decision for you. And so we talked about, to kind of review it and to kind of get this into you 6 times, if you will, so you really accept it and start embracing it and start thinking about it. And when you're in front of someone, start really listening and saying, see, I'm talking about 100 words per minute, and your minds are going 300 to 400 words per minute. What are you doing with that extra time? And most of us aren't even in the room. And so if that's the case for you right now, I want you to get in the room and back to this. And again, no multitasking, and really stay focused on this, that because you're going to hear this once, you're going to get it, and the sooner you can apply it, you're going to see your close rate increases, and you're going to see developing better relationships. And this is better relationships not only in your business, but also with your family. It's with your spouse, with your children, whoever it may be, the people that you care most about, by understanding this and understanding where they're coming from. So we have utilitarian and return on investment. And so what these people want, and which most of you, by the way, are also utilitarian and have a very strong influence on how you make decisions, and that wanting a return on investment of time, money, and energy. And so again, you want to be sensitive to the fact that not all people are high utilitarian, and where this cost factor comes in, yes, just address it in one, you need to address it, and that's definitely on the top of people's minds. However, for them, when they make the decision, it's more going to be about whatever motivation. In this case, wanting return on investment of time, money, and energy. So their score shows a characteristic interest in money and what is useful. This means that an individual wants to have the security that money brings, not only for themselves, but for their present and future family. And so we all want to be and again, most of you have talked to this in your professional or personal development. And this is one of the reasons why, is because most of you are high utilitarian. This value value indicates the practical affairs of the business world. So again, if you're dealing with small companies that, and CEOs, owners, HR people, that probably more practical affairs of the business world, the production, marketing, consumption of good, use of credit, accumulation of tangible wealth. This type of individual is thoroughly practical and conforms well to the stereotype of the average business person. So thus, this is definitely a high motivation that you're going to be able to look at, and so that return on investment is going to be, in a lot of cases, important. And again, that's why you would want to talk costs, but know that there are these other values, and we don't want to lose out on 60% of the population because we're just talking to utilitarian when you're not always talking to a utilitarian. And they're likely to have a need to surpass others in wealth as well. And so this is a great way to talk to them when you are talking to a high utilitarian, that you can talk to them about how this is really, this health insurance really is a gap in your financial plan, right? And without health insurance, and that if you don't fill that could significantly impact your wealth, short-term and long-term wealth. And an example of that is I was just in what I call a miraculous car experience about 4 months ago, and I was when they scraped me from the car and the claws of life took me, got me out, got my door out of there, and scraped me off and go to the hospital, and I have a crushed chest and a broken arm, and my knees are 3 inches higher, and I'm paralyzed from my waist down. I mean, all kinds of things. And so they just had me there for one night, and then they transferred me out of that hospital. But the one night for me, the bill, and they did some x-rays and they reset my arm, and that's kind of a fun little story too. I'm sitting there and on a lot of morphine, fortunately, but the next thing that I remember after this horrific car accident is I look at my arm and it looks like a V. It's standing up and this big V, and a doctor comes walking in and goes, "Hey, how are you, Hank?" And sits down. And he goes, "Here, let me fix this." And I'm watching this as he just straightens my arm. And I don't feel any pain, but I'm thinking to myself, damn, this must hurt. And so that bill was $72,000 for one night in the emergency room, and I was in DFW at Denton Regional. And so, so that could ruin people without a good health insurance that you guys offer. That could ruin, the financial wealth, long-term, short-term, long-term wealth of an individual. And so high utilitarian definitely is something that you are, and you're typically talking to, and you're going to be in front of a lot of utilitarians. And so I would say probably this is the number one that you're going to be in front of, because you want to be in front of, business people and people that own these small companies, et cetera. And so probably you're going to run into this. But the watch out is not all of them are going to be utilitarian. So you want to really listen to, who are they? And they probably have some individualistic in that. They probably have some theoretical with them. Okay, the next one is traditional. And this is the need for order and unity. And for, I think, all of you don't have this at all and don't think this is important at all. And I can tell you that probably 20% of the population, which means that if you're not talking to them 1 out of 5, you're going to lose if you don't understand this one. And again, we're looking at, increasing your close rate, and a way to do that is to really understand, like this one, because this isn't on your radar screen at all. You're not too involved in the order and the unity. You're pretty much, for most of you, is, hey, here it is. Let's go ahead, sign up, and we'll see you later. And these people are a little bit different. The highest interest for this value may be called unity, order, or tradition. And individuals with high score in this value seek a system for living. And this system can be defined in such things as conservatism or any authority that has defined rules, regulations, and principles for living. So this is where you are running into people that are saying, oh, does it meet ACA? Okay, that they're all into this rules and regulation. It's similar to the C in the behavior styles, the conscientious, okay? But in this case, it's not on behaviors, it's what they value and, importantly, what motivates them to make a decision. And so because you guys aren't very high traditional, you want to kind of not address it, or you're thinking, oh my God, who gives a shit? This is good health insurance and, let's run with it. And the fact is that you have these traditional people. And again, we don't have an actual percentage because there's usually number one, the highest value motivation, and then number two, the second highest. And so that can vary, and we have 6 different ones of them. But we do have a national mean, and the national mean that is that, it's the 4th highest one, and at least 20% of the population, this is how they make decisions. And so this is why you're getting hit a lot with that ACA. And the other thing is that, there's something where you can kind of say, well, all you have to do is check off on your income tax form that, you have health and you have insurance, and that'll get you through and you don't have to pay. Well, those people, they're about, because they're defined by rules and regulations, that they're not doing that unless they know they're squeaky clean on that. And so thus, suggesting that, or, giving them the option or telling them how this works, as far as the penalty is concerned, that you need to understand that they're going to make a answer of no if you're not meeting and helping them to understand that this does meet the rules and the regulations, or on how it does meet their needs on overall what they need for health insurance at the price that they need, and still in keeping with the ACA. And then we have aesthetic. And this actually is one that is growing, and it's the essence of enjoying the moment with harmony. And again, you guys, for the most part, you don't have any aesthetic with you, but know that people, so these people that are aesthetic, that they're into the moment. They're into building the relationship, for example, with you. That they're into enjoying being with you, and again, because of your typical behavior styles and what you guys value, your motivations, that you're not into the moment per se. You're into closing them. You're showing them the deal, closing them. And so again, this is where for you all to slow down, breathe deeply, say to yourself, I'm really going to listen to what this person wants. Health plans that don't count as coverage. I'm reading from Bill there. He had a comment and I missed it. And so let me just see on if it's still there. Can you write that? Or Bill, just say it. What were you going to say there?
You've been talking about some of the stuff that I sent you this weekend. And about, you keep going back to the ACA stuff, and I just wanted to throw this in because we fall in such a middle of the line. This is under the healthcare.gov, and when talking to our potential clients, when they talk about ACA compliance, health plans that don't count as coverage, and what it states, we aren't a discount. We don't only do workman's compensation. We don't only treat a specific disease or condition. We do have a full health plan. So it's it's kind of like falling in the middle, as I stated on that email that I sent you, that we're considered a supplemental because we do underwrite, which is required by the ACA, and a couple benefits that we don't put directly on the policy, but that
Yeah.
still doesn't mean we're not a full plan. So we're kind of in the misnomer stage, you know what I mean, right in the
Yeah.
middle of it. You know,
Right.
it's not that we're not totally, by the word, because I'm dealing, this is an attorney that I'm
Right.
dealing with. And she is obviously theoretical, and she's also utilitarian,
Yeah.
very much so. Trying to go specifically by the word of the law instead of being open to, yes, this does offer me everything that's required, but it still may not fall into the specific guideline that the
Right.
government
Right. Yep. Yep. And that's something that so it's just great information, and I appreciate your input on that. And yeah, and that's something that one of the challenges that we have in that, hey, we kind of meet all of it, but at the same time it isn't. So these so if we go back like to the traditional, that we may have a challenge with that traditional, so that are really looking at. And so let's say that this attorney could well be also traditional on defined rules and regulations, and it looks like they went through the material, that they recognize it's not health insurance, it's supplemental. So on that, what we need to do is we need to look at what is the other value that they have that we can speak to, because if her being traditional and on those defined rules and regulations, that and PJ, you can just go ahead and talk on it. That in all of you, that we're going to be talking here a lot today, and so you might as well, just go ahead and pop in whenever you want to. But this is where I need to find what else is this person. So you're right. This person is probably this attorney is probably, and again, all I have is 2 sentences from this attorney, and already I'm starting to pick up what type of what's motivating her, what's coming from her, because she said, hey, based on your material, this is not health insurance but supplemental. So right away she's theoretical, and then also could indicate that she's traditional and she wants to be in these defined rules. So and so she said, and she says at the end, not acceptable to me. So now I have to start digging on, hey, what would be, and so how can I address her and help her to make a decision, yes, that that doesn't meet her traditional need, but meets something else. And so it could well be that she's utilitarian and wants a return on investment on it, and how we could be able to talk to that on the return on investment. And just like using my example on, hey, here you are trying to do that. If I wouldn't have had your insurance, I would have had a $72,000 bill, and who cares about, even if it isn't compliant, and maybe you get into that discussion where I'd rather pay the tax on this. It's kind of just like adding to how much you're paying, that maybe I do want to pay that tax on it, because it's a heck of a lot better than $72,000 in one night stay in the emergency room. And again, all things that I want us to start discussing and uncovering, because I know it's one of the key central challenges that we have is this ACA and supplemental, on it. So yeah, and great explanation. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to say is that when dealing with this attorney, and I'm still working with her, okay, with
Yeah.
that response that I gave her, is that yes, okay, the ACA compliant plans that are available here for you as an individual or family outside of a group plan,
Yes.
eliminate your benefit, because you are told what doctors basically to see, and there's many hospitals. Our main hospitals here in Texas don't even accept the HMO. So I tried to turn it as, because she's illegal, as, you know what, here you are, you're wanting to buy a plan that you're saying is ACA mandated, but in turn the hospitals don't even accept the policy.
Right.
You
Right.
follow me?
Yeah,
So
yeah, it might be.
so that if you notice at the end of that, I said, so you have to decide, do you really want to be ACA compliant?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you can't go to you can't go to Kelsey, you can't go to MD Anderson, you can't go to AT. You're going to have to find a doctor that's an HMO, which is very hard to find here. Then you have to get referrals for any doctor you want to see outside of that. Does that sound like an ACA compliant kind of thing for you? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I was trying to come across. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound good to anybody.
Right, right, right. And even, beyond even ACA compliant, it's kind of like, is this the healthcare you want? Whether it's compliant or not. Um,
Exactly. That's what
that
I was trying to come across. Do you really
yeah,
want this when you can't even go to the hospital with this?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
you,
anyway, I'm waiting for her response on all that, but
yeah,
we're
yeah.
still working.
Well, I think, and so just, and to highlight that, because this is one of our agenda items, so I'm glad that, you brought it up here. And again, I'd love all of you to pipe in here that, but you started out by addressing ACA's compliance 10-point mandate the government enacted and stated its insurance policy didn't follow the 10 points. And then, and so then you talk about it's a private company policy that's out of mandate. You further go, this is a Cigna network policy accepted by 98% of hospitals and physicians in the country. ACA policies available to you in Texas are only HMOs. And then trying to get into what doctors that they do accept, that good luck. There's a wait line that most of those doctors that are accepting it, you can't even get in. They're booked because why? Because everybody has to run to just these few that are available. And so you can't get into them anyways. And so it's really looking like, and this is probably why this is going to be changed as Obamacare and everything by Trump, because it's just, it's really ludicrous under what we have. We at U.S. Health Advisor, we're really the only ones with a solution here that's affordable. Even if you do say, hey, I'm going to pay the tax on it, the penalty, that it's the only one that's affordable. And again, this tax, in my mind, that tax is very little when you compare it to $70,000 for one night, stay at the hospital. And so I think you addressed it very well, Bill, on that. And then you also say that I'd love to go over online and talk with you on the phone, because this person, again, we have very little other than one sentence so far from them, but they're probably theoretical. They're an attorney, theoretical knowledge. They need more knowledge, and in this case, this lady has apparently looked up all the knowledge, is theoretical. So I need to talk to their theoretical knowledge and give them enough knowledge so they can make a positive answer towards me.
That's exactly right. I have got 14 emails from her. All this is done. In fact, she already filled out the application and everything. This is and she's not even questioning the tax.
Yeah.
She's stuck on this ACA mandate. So I wanted to come across and make sure she understood that the ACA mandate's all well and good, except that it doesn't work for you. You know what I mean? You can't see a doctor. You can't go to the hospital. You're going to have, if you have cancer, can you go to the best hospital in the state of Texas to get cancer treatment? No.
Right.
Does this really work for you? And I didn't say that if you notice, I didn't attack the law. I just left it alone. But I made it clear that, compliance isn't always the best thing.
You bet, you bet. And I'm going to give you just a little input on your letter. Is just awesome. And again, if you guys want to do that, I'm sure Bill's would be happy to share it with us all. That one of the things you said, which I love, is you said, I value your opinion, and that's awesome. The one thing on the whole letter that I would just strike out is, in no way am I being argumentative with you. Remember that whatever I focus my attention on grows. And so what that statement says, even though you're saying not argumentative, that it makes her think about argumentative. It has to, right? It's kind of like the pink elephant in the room. So I would just nix that out and rather, that, hey, I value your opinion and would love to discuss this further, whatever with it. And I know you're really, you're not trying to be argumentative. The challenge is you can't bring up a negative without them thinking a negative.
You know what, you're absolutely right, and I'll tell you what, after I took very much time into writing that, and
Yes.
you know what, and I threw that in because of her last response, the way it came across, but you know
Yeah.
what, after I sent it, I was like, damn, I should have
Damn.
never.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got that as well. My wife says, don't send an email for
Yeah. That's
24 hours. She always says,
yeah.
don't send it for 24 hours to think about what you're going to send. So I was, dealing with a professional person, and her husband is a physician.
Yeah.
So you know what, I was trying to point out some very specific things for her, and I did state in there, talk to your husband.
Right.
Because
Right.
I'll tell you what, he can tell her, I mean, everything
Yeah.
I stated in there is to the fact, and
Right.
they are limiting their care
Yeah.
by being compliant. Here's the thing: she wants to be compliant, but in turn, she's limiting the care of her family.
Right.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And based on her very short and direct response that at least I saw, you just did this one sentence thing, hey, it doesn't
that's all she did.
apply, not interested, in it, that she's also, now we go back to the behaviors, and she's also a D. And they like to control. So you did a marvelous job at saying, hey, go to your husband who's a physician and ask him. And what that does is that gives her the control.
Right,
So
exactly.
now she can control, hey, you're giving her some options here to make her comfortable. So you're really talking to, her D, but then also as far as her value, the theoretical, and again, that she may be, traditional because why she's talking about these rules, this ACA stuff. And so we need to make sure that she understands, and you did a great job on clarifying that. So I think your response was awesome. And just on a comment on kind of talking about things, also people that say to you, now I want to be honest with you. Well, what the heck? So you haven't been honest this whole time? And now you're going to be honest? So I wouldn't even bring that up anymore. If anybody does bring that, this is for the whole group, that you assume you're being honest the whole time. And so, it's kind of like, well, when weren't you honest or whatever? And then again, there's attention to, you just want to have positive things on that page, information on it. And like I said, I think it was a great response on that, and I appreciate your input. Anything else on that?
Well,
Any other comments?
I just want to say one more thing, is that what I base that off of was the information that I told Robert. We didn't get into this exclusively about that email, but on
Yeah.
Saturday, is I based what I did off of the information that you provided in my review. So
That's awesome.
that was my approach off of your information.
That
Okay.
is awesome, and really it's just a great letter on there to address, and it's an issue that all of us come up with every day, that we're being asked this, so it definitely is key. And so I appreciate your input there, and moving on, just so now we're to aesthetic, and again, this is the essence of enjoying the moment with harmony. And a high aesthetic score indicates relative interest in form and harmony. And again, you guys aren't too much in this form and harmony stuff that you're saying, hey, here it is, and it's obvious you need it, and just sign up here, and you close them. But this is, each experience is judged from the standpoint of grace, symmetry, or fitness, that life may be regarded as a procession of events, and each is enjoyed for its own sake. So these people, again, they're wanting to get more into the relationships. They're wanting to enjoy the moment. So when you call them up and you share with them on, hey, I'd like to meet with you and share on how you can really have some affordable health insurance that can really meet all of your needs, which most health insurance does not. And then when you're meeting with them, again, it's this procession of events that they're putting together on the experiences that they had with you. And if they've had positive, kind, harmonious experiences with you, they are going to be more inclined to say yes to you. And so for you to every experience, whether it's an email back to them, you want to make people feel good. And so here's one thing just on the side that I would do is, and I would write down, is that what I would start calling forth is harmonious people. That literally, as you ask for, ask and you shall receive. And your mind, and we're going to get a lot into this in January, but your mind is actually energy, and your thoughts create this energy, and this energy then goes and starts attracting it. You're like a magnet, and so you want to shine up that. You're like a genie, okay? And you want to shine it up and have that genie come out. And so one of the things what you'd want to do is start asking for harmonious people. And you're going to start seeing that you have this power to where you'd start becoming a magnet to more harmonious people, more agreeable people, more people that say yes, more people that are kind and understanding. Because wouldn't you love to just every person that you run into is harmonious? And so I'd write that down as a side note on, hey, I'm going to start asking for the things that I want. And one of the things that I want, and so you're asking, you could call it God, the universe, or whatever term that is. Like every one of us have a different definition of God. And so whatever that definition is, that, ask and you shall receive. And so you need to start asking for the things that you want and get clarity on that. And this is one area that I suspect none of you have been asking for harmonious people to come into your life and harmonious clients and prospects to come into your life. And so that's one of the things that you want to start asking for. And you'll start seeing that you're going to have more and more harmonious people in your life. And as you understand this, such as aesthetic, that these people are into enjoying the moment. And so you want to be able to enjoy the moment, and it'll be a lot easier for you to enjoy the moment when you're with harmonious people. And so when you're harmonious because you're feeling good and not at odds with each other, not controversial with each other, that you're going to start building these relationships and attracting the type of people that you want. And so a high score here doesn't necessarily mean that they come in talents in creative artistry. So it's not necessarily that they're aesthetic in art. It's more about they have the artistic episodes of life. And again, for most of you, you're thinking, who cares? You just don't have a high aesthetic. But that's why I want you to have it on your radar system now, and to start realizing that, hey, there are these 6 values, and the more that I can understand them, the better I'm going to be able to get people to yes. And then we have social. And this is the need to help others. And so a lot of us have been brought up, you have to think about others first before you think of yourself. Well, really, that's impossible. I can't think for anybody and I can't feel for anybody. But as you think and feel for yourself on what's best for you, the whole world will help you. However, with the social, those who score high in this, they have an inherent love of people. Now, we all love people, but this is where they make decisions, okay? So they have this inherent love of their social, almost altruistic person who prizes other people and is therefore very kind, very sympathetic, and very unselfish. Now, hearing that, and I basically shared with you that most of you aren't high social. It doesn't mean that you're not kind, sympathetic, and unselfish. Understand where this is coming from. It's saying on how you're making decisions and in your scope of what you value, what motivates you. A high social for most of you is in there. They're likely to find the theoretical, in fact, the utilitarian and the aesthetic, fairly cold and inhuman, especially the theoretical and utilitarian and as well as The individual value regards helping other people as the only suitable form for human relationships. And again, this doesn't mean that you don't like to help other people, but what it does is, and here's how to take advantage of this, if you will. If you're talking to an HR person who's high social, which is very likely, because human resource people, that they typically are in there, and one of the reasons why they are is they like to help other people, that you can leverage this now and talk to their value and start sharing with them on how they can help their organization with the best health care, with the doctors they want, with the hospitals that they want, that they'll be this, wonderful person that can impact the lives of not only all the employees, but all of the families of the employees. And so it's really a great hot button, if you will, to be aware of it and to be hearing what they're saying. And then again, being on the lookout, raising your radar now, not to what motivates you, but what motivates others. So research in this value indicates in its purest form, the social altruistic interest is selfless. Now, I'll share with you that when I assess people and they're real high social, and when I say real high, we're going to look at a graph in a couple minutes here, on that when I say real high social, what that means is typically over 50%. And we're going to look at that graph that will show the 50% there and a line there. When they're above the line, that what they do is they help people so much that they lose themselves and they in fact hurt themselves. And think back on people that you have known that always want to be like a people pleaser and always want to say yes and always want to please people and always want to honor the God of other people's opinion, that what happens is they end up losing themselves, losing out, not getting the things that they want. And a real fun little, quick example could be like a mother at home cooking dinner. She's high social, and then all of a sudden she finds herself where the doorbell rings and another mom next door says, "Oh, can you please help me and babysit for 15 minutes the children next door?" "Oh, sure." And so she goes over, babysits. Well, it's a half hour, and so then she's late. She comes back and the meal is ruined, and so now our family doesn't have a meal. And this is what happens with real high social. And again, not your place to say, "Hey, don't be a social," and that you need to be thinking more about yourself, because you're the only one to think about yourself. It's not that you're going to be there, trying to help these people per se. That's kind of my job, my role. But it is for you to be aware of, hey, high social, they're going to want to hear words from you saying that, yeah, this can help your family. So they're not an HR person, but you recognize, wow, they're really talking a lot about their family and they're really interested in their people and maybe the people that they know, which could become a referral partner, that they may be high social and the perfect person for you to say, yeah, do you know anybody that I'd love to help other people? So here's a great statement is, I'd love to help other people and help them understand that this amazing product and service is out there. And who do you know that not do you know, who do you know that I could help? And they'll jump all over that and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to do it." And so I suspect that most of you have a referral partner right now that is that way. And so you want to bless those high social, because you're part of that. They want to help other people. You're that other person they want to help. And then you're telling them that you can help even more. And so now their influence on it. So it's a great way for you to be able to go out and do, be able to get like a referral partner that really, especially a connected referral partner with businesses, probably would be the ideal partner for you. So I just want to take a look at, imagine that we're in a bus right now, and that all of us, that there's just 6 windows in the bus, okay? And now this is a participant exercise, so I'd like you to chime in here on looking at this picture. What would the utilitarian say? So they want a return on investment. What would the utilitarian say? I need your input, guys.
This is Dan. I'd say, how much are those condos going for right now?
Yeah, yeah. How much are those condos going for right now? That why don't we just cut all those damn flowers down and build some more condos? Right? And those palm trees, we don't even need those. We could do that. So that's a great one. Yeah. Theoretical. What would that one do? What would they say? Come on, guys. What would theoretical do?
Well, again, if nobody else is going to answer, I'd say those flowers and those palm trees kind of line things up, or very soft. And when you're looking at those $1 million condos, you've got some cement. It's symmetrical out there.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Wow, yeah. I wonder how they got those, pink flowers there and how they made that. And yeah, it's so symmetrical that, they got it there that I really like, on how they planted those, trees there, and that it's good. And so the knowledge of, and maybe the knowledge of, wow, I wonder, was the park zoned? Is that a park? And then, was it zoned that way? And how are the condos now? Someone said, what is the cost? That actually would have been the utilitarian, that, how much does it cost? The utilitarian. Theoretical wants the knowledge. Aesthetic, form, and harmony, what would they say? And so what would aesthetic say?
They would say beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, wow, it's beautiful. And just look at, the form and the harmony that, all the flowers are there, and then they have the palm trees there, and then the, condos there. And then, I'd really enjoy the moments at the condo, living in that condo and overlooking, the beauty on that. And then the individualistic, what would they say? They want power. They want to be number one. Where would they want to live?
Yeah, it's Andy. They would want to live on the top floor.
Yeah, they want to be on the penthouse. Exactly. Anyway, man, I want to be on the penthouse. I want to be number one there on the penthouse. Now, understand the power of what we're doing, this exercise, is we're all looking at the same picture, but we've had a different interpretation depending on what we value. And so this is with every person that you meet, that they're looking through one of those windows, and it's up to you to figure out which window are they looking through so I can address them. Because if I'm talking to an aesthetic and I say to them, hey, this is a great deal right now, then, and a great cost, they're not interested in it. It's not their window that they're looking through. That instead, they're looking through more on that, hey, I just love, the way that this looks and the presence of this. And then what's the social saying? So these people care about other people. So what are they saying?
They're wondering whether or not they have volleyball on Friday in those condos.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, where's the volleyball court? We want to do it. That, maybe we could pick those flowers and take them to the local charity or to a hospital. I like that volleyball one. That's a good one. And then the traditional, order, unity, that, kind of the same thing with, the tradition. And so, it's probably traditional, let's make sure we don't walk through those flowers. Use the pathways, in the park that, what else for traditional? Let's see.
Yeah, they probably like the symmetry of the buildings and the flowers with the tree line in between. They're looking at aesthetics.
Right. Yeah, this is very nice. It's a traditional park, and it's nice. It has flowers and it has trees. And this is the way, in their mind, this is the way it should be. I mean, there should be places for living, but then also there should be, the park and the nature there and everything. And again, this isn't judgment on who's right or wrong. This is just how people are. And this is the different ways that they are. And so with that, let's go ahead and I want to, just before we break here, and I know but what I'd like to do is I want to go to your assessment. And so if you'll go to page 49 or 50, one of those pages, and if anything, you can just look at my screen and then look at your screen later. And so at the top of it, it says it's the motivational insight graphs. Now, the second part of your assessment is going to go through the order in which you value what your value is on the 6 motivations, okay? And then it's going to have some information about that on how you are. And you have to remember that it's very accurate but when you read it, that it'll say things you have to keep in perspective. What it's saying is your level in each one of it and how strong you are. So looking at this just example of Candace, again, an insurance agent who was assessed. And so you can see THE, theoretical, see at the bottom, theoretical, utilitarian, aesthetic, social, individualistic, and traditional. And what you can see is, and what I want you to be aware of is when you look at your graph, where are you, first of all, really high? So when you look at this, that in the little bar there, you see there's a little bar on each one. And so the national mean is right here. And you can see theoretical, the one that we started out with, is number 1 as far as the highest. But you can see that there's none that is even over 50%. Okay, so that's why we need to be aware of those. But who are you going to run into more often than not? People that want knowledge, see where that bar is. People individualistic, wanting to be the best, and people utilitarian, wanting a return on investment. So in this case, that Candace is so high, she's over 50% in individualistic, and she doesn't understand why people aren't individualistic and wanting to be number 1. So when she used to be selling, she would always sell from her values, her motivations, and she would always sell as, oh, I'm number 1, individualistic, I'm number 1, I'm the best, and then she'd sell the return on investment. And notice she wasn't selling to the theoretical. She wasn't even on her radar, the social, and picking up when there was a social that it could have been, for example, a great referral partner because they're social and want to help people on, the example that I gave you before. So this helped her to awaken. This graph right here helped her to awaken to, and I wanted to awaken each one of you on that. It helped her to realize that she was only talking to her values and why she didn't have a very good close value, why she was just an assistant in a shop, if you will, in an insurance shop. Once she saw this and she recognized that there's different ways people are talking a different language, that within 3 months, she ended up having her own a retail outlet, own insurance, own farmer's branch, if you will, and it just exploded with her business. So that's how powerful this is when you look at your graph. Now, for most of you, when you're looking at your graph, most of you are very high individualistic and utilitarian. And so you have a lot of that. And so basically, like Dan is individualistic, utilitarian. Robert is that. Then we have Bill, that individualistic, utilitarian. So most of you that. Walter, he's high social, but then individualistic and utilitarian. And then Andy, and so for you guys, that Andy is social, aesthetic, and theoretical. And so he has different values. And again, there's no right or wrong in this. There's just an awareness on, that's why you guys like maybe talk a little bit differently than Andy does, because Andy has different motivations on what his language is. And the reason why I share that is so that all of you can start building deeper, more meaningful relationships as well. And if you want, I can actually send a brief recap of what behavior style and what values and motivations that you have. And so with that, hey, let's take let's just call it a 2-minute break. And so if we could take a 2-minute break and again, and look at your graph in that 2 minutes if you want to look at that graph. And then we're going to get into defining our ideal referral partner, our ideal client, and reviewing that referral partnership, and then closing it up. So let's take 2 minutes. All right. So we are back, and and so so let's define our ideal referral partnership. And this was one of your under professional development to define that. And let's see. And then some of you, and most of you have identified who your referral partner is. So number 7, it was number 7 on write out your ideal referral partner. And so so what we're looking at is all of you have, we talked about how one of you have like 4 referral partners and or I think 3 referral partners, but it got you were getting from one referral partner 2 referrals per week. And then from each the other ones, you were getting 1 per week. And that's awesome. Normally, as a general theme that I recommend that you use, you get every 2 weeks that you go back to that referral partner. But if you can get 2 referrals out of them per week, I mean, more power to you. And that's just awesome. But these are people that are well, typically you want them well connected with many people, respected in the community, connected to businesses. And so again, probably, your biggest bang for the buck is to be talking to either an owner of a small company with, let's say, 20 employees or an HR person with 50 employees. They don't have health insurance. That I suspect that would be your best one. And is that true? Is that what you guys believe? Is that would be your best bet? The best ideal referral partner would be somebody that had direct influence to be able to get you into like 20 people or whatever. And any comments about that? Or I want comments. I need comments about that. Who do you think is your best? Connected to organizations. So what do you think? How can we define this and really get focused on who are we looking for here? Come on, guys. Good morning.
Sorry, it's Andy. I'm trying to write at the same time you're talking. But no, for me, it's I go with what I know. I go with the social because the social people know a broad breadth of people. So you try to get a little bit of everything. Business owners are great, but they're only good within that business. But I try to go outside of that. People that are influential, people that do the same thing I do, salespeople, people that have a lot of contacts because they're hearing it on a daily basis. So like I put on mine, I have multiple people that I deal with every week because I am so social. I know so many of these people that like me and trust me that they give me that warm handshake. They bring me into those places. So I try to find people that have maximum impact on the maximum number of folks, but that's just the way I do it.
That's awesome. I love it, Andy. That's great. Other input? How is, so I like that, and I like, you brought up sales, like salespeople. Yeah, they're out there, they're talking to a lot of people, so that's a real good one that I hadn't specifically talked about, and so I like that, and I like on how you've done that. And then, Andy, is most of your business coming from referrals?
Everything I've done so far has come from referrals. I don't take any of the leads so far. I haven't had to.
Wow.
It's all referral.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And about how many referrals would you say you get like per week?
Last week I was averaging 3 a day. So I'm just following up and going through them because I have so many different people that are calling me. But I don't know, I've had weeks where I've gone with maybe 2 or 3 for the week. And then like last 2 weeks, everything's just kind of come unhinged. They're coming fast and furious right now. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And so, and one of the things that I would say, like, in the last week, and one of the reasons on why you attracted more is part of that is because we've been talking about ideal referral partners, and so you've been thinking about that, and so you've been attracting more of that, and that is just awesome on, like 3 per day. I mean, you can build a big business on 3 referrals per day, so that is just awesome. Other input from anybody else? Okay, so that's the ideal referral partner. And again, I want you to really, this is real live work here is, like you heard on Andy, and I think for most of you, that your business is built on referrals. And so that's why it's so critical to stay focused. And so, we talked about asking, and one thing was to ask for harmonious people. So the other thing that I'd like you to do is I think I had, Dan, did you say something there? You want to retype that in? Or you can talk if you want on that because now.
No, Dr. Hank, that was Andy. Dan's computer locked up. He said he's rebooting right now.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you. Great. And so another thing that you can start asking for is I ask for my ideal referral partners, and I ask for more referrals. And so as you stay more and more mentally focused on the things that you want on that, because we have a tendency to think about, I didn't get enough referrals. And when you say that, and that's a negative energy, and what happens is you'll get more not enough referrals. And so no matter what's happening, what is, you want to rise above that, and you want to say, hey, I'm going to, what do I want? Just stay focused on what do I want. And so I want more ideal referral partnerships. And like, Andy, you got a machine there going on those 3 per day. And what do you think, just last question on that is, what do you think that contributed to you all of a sudden, I mentioned that, last week, one of the possible reasons is that, you've been focused a little bit more on ideal referral partnerships, but what do you think happened in the last couple of weeks that got you all of a sudden 3 referrals per day?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it is people are starting to really realize that the end of the program is coming for open enrollment. So I think that's starting to push a little bit more, and I just think it's been the work that I've done up to this point, because Dan and I, we work together pretty closely, and we're pretty big on keeping that funnel filled with people and constantly going back and following up. So I think it's just everything's kind of coming to a head because the middle of open enrollment helps move that quite a bit.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Great. Okay, thank you very much for that. That's sweet. And then let me go to, okay, defining our ideal client. So in the discussion when we're with our referral partner, that we need to talk about with them on who we're looking for. And the clearer we can be on who we're looking for, who our ideal client is, the more effective they'll be able to, and the better they're going to understand on who you're looking for, so they can think about who they know that would meet that description. So, possibly someone that, needs health insurance. So they may know actual people that, came up to them recently and said, hey, do you know anywhere that I can get good health insurance? And so that would be definitely one. Maybe someone that has health insurance but has talked to them about having affordable health insurance. You definitely want, someone that's motivated on wanting health insurance. And so those top 2 could probably be it. Has the means to pay for the insurance. And so, and those are pretty basic criteria on that. We need to make sure that they do. Bought into our system and the way our insurance works. Yeah, so someone that has bought into, and so that was just input. Gosh, sorry, it goes on there fast. But who put that in there? Who just wrote that?
That was me, Robert.
Oh, Robert. Okay, great. And can you say what you just had typed there?
Just the fact that a great referral partner is someone who is bought into the way our insurance works and is also a champion of you personally, helping them.
Yes.
And they're out there giving their personal testimony, selling you first as the agent and then the product second.
Yeah, yeah. So now would that criteria too would be good for that when I have an ideal referral partner, that ideal referral partner helps me understand that they understand our insurance and how it works too. Is that right? Would that be a good criteria for? It would probably be easy if we had someone like a current client that really understood our insurance, and that would be a good ideal referral partner. And then a good ideal client, you're saying, also would understand our insurance. I'm not sure if they'd understand our insurance at that point. What do you think?
I think it depends on how you explain it. Several of the people that I work with in my B&I group, we go into, a little bit more detail because they want to understand. Also, we also have time to do so because we're doing these one-on-one meetings every week for about an hour. They explain what they do for 30 minutes. We explain what we do for 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
we have a little bit more time to explain a little more details about the program, how it works, and how it would benefit them or friends or family or referrals that they would come across.
Yeah, awesome, great. That's fantastic, and so kind of what you were saying, some of that is that it respects you, takes your counsel, and so that basically is the ideal client. And so what I'd like you to do is think right now, and maybe even write down and define. And again, this is on the ideal client that. Let's see, we have that listed. Actually, I'm going to add that onto our ideal. We have our ideal referral partner, and then who is your. So we'll add that to our professional development. Is the definition of the ideal a client. And so because we want to be clear on who we're looking for. And so these are some of them also that, like you say, that, they would understand our for sure that we want our ideal referral partner to understand the type of insurance we have, and then our ideal client to understand it. So referral partner discussion now. So I want each of you to think about who's another referral partner. Yeah. Dan?
Dr. Hank, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's Robert. Back to the referral, be it the, what was that, the client?
Yeah, the ideal client.
Is also, too, I think, somebody who's willing to think a little bit outside the box, because our program is a little different than what, the government is selling, like this one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
So either they have to be willing to be a little open-minded or willing to think outside the box, or we have to change the way we present it to fit it inside that box.
Yes. Yeah. And so, so how would we? Yeah, and I think we could just, actually state that when we're talking to our ideal referral partner, okay, when we're talking to our referral partner, to say, to maybe share that with them that, because remember, the reason why you want to be clear on your ideal client is, first of all, so you can start being a magnet to attracting them. But in this case, we're looking at verbalizing to our ideal referral partner, so to the referral partner, that, who are we looking for? And so, yeah, somebody that is open-minded, that isn't just into what the government says, because, and if anything, you can make a little joke over, that, in the government, we think kind of has this a little messed up, this health insurance deal. And we have our incoming president saying he's going to, try to abolish it, which is still great for us either way. It plays out for us because, again, we have affordable insurance where you can pick your doctors, pick your hospital that you want. But I love that idea of, we want to have someone, we're looking for people that are a little outside the box. And so, what is that not? That, we're not really looking for conservative people that are, just following all the government rules and regulations. We want somebody that really wants to do what's best for them, that's outside the box. And so it's a great add-on there, Walter, and I appreciate the input. So the referral partner discussion. And so so this is typically how I like, hey, thanks so much for being willing to help me. So one of the reasons why people are sometimes don't feel very comfortable with asking for referrals is because they think they're the only ones that benefit. And that goes back to our upbringing on, you have to just help other people first, and you got to put other people in front of you. And when you do that, you end up getting walked on, you end up being unhappy, and everybody else around you becomes unhappy. So you don't want to do that. And so by asking this question that, say, would you be willing to help me? They say yes, and then when you meet with them, that thanks for being willing to help me. So what you've done is you put that referral partner in a position to help another person, and that person is you. So we want to increase our self-esteem and say, you bet, that I'm giving them an opportunity to help another person, and that other person is me. And then you want to share your goal. And so, so this would be, again, part of your, on your professional development plan we have on what your, what is your goal? What do you want to do and have your goal? And so with that one that I'm just kind of reviewing out of there, that number 9 on your professional goal is write out what your professional goal is, what you want in 2017. And so, I have, so some responses are, I can plan on growing my referral-based business. So that's great. That's exactly what we're talking about right now is, how to do this in a more formalized way to kind of put it in an order of understanding on some of the basics, like such as the willing to help me puts them in a position to help another person. That's you. That's all psychological on you're giving them something, and whenever you give someone something like an opportunity to help you, that they feel obligated to go ahead and help you more. And so it's, again, this psychology of sales, if you will, that we're really introducing here and why we're introducing it in this format. Then you share your goal. And what this shows is that, hey, you have an objective, that you are a clear shooter, you know what you want to do. And so, some of these, like, so I want to grow my referral business. That I want to sell $1 million in sales in this coming year. And so tell me, how many people have that I want to sell $1 million of business or more? Who has that?
This is Dan. I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with my computer. Yeah, I've got, I think it's like 1.9 million, which is I've got what's scheduled for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how do you come up with 1.9?
I work backwards. I figure out what I want to make and take some averages of $1,000 per commission per application.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring about 200 applications or policies a year, and kind of work them out backwards.
That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, and just again, some little tweaking on that $1.9 million or more. You always want to give the universe, if you will, the opportunity, and you the opportunity to have more. So to say, yeah, $1.9 million or more. And that just feels good. I like that. We've had a couple of you with this $2 million objective, and that would provide $200,000 for you. Some of us have ceilings of what our income would be. And so, you want to realize that you're worthy of it, that you deserve it, and that you can get this. And really, it boils down to, I want to be able to serve. And maybe even a softer way of putting it when you share your goal, especially depending on who you're talking to, that like if you're talking to a high social, that it may be an I or an S as far as the behaviors are concerned, that you'd probably want to soften that goal and say something like, I'd like to serve, at least 200 people this year. And so not put it in your dollar terms, on that I want to do $2 million worth of business per se. That now with the D or utilitarian, probably you could, be more direct like that. But think about making it softer. And since most of you have high Ds in there and are utilitarian, that I would suggest that you just always, in a softer way, share your goal. And again, a softer way would be, instead of I want to make $200,000 this year, I want to do $2 million worth of business this year, it's more about, I'd like to serve at least 200 people this year. And with your help that, I could do that. And then you want to share your ideal client. And again, so in that conversation, so here's who I'm looking for. So you want to be clear on, you want to thank them for helping you. You want to share your goal, and then you want to share who you're looking for. And the more that you can start developing and really internalizing on who is this ideal client of mine, and that I want them that ideal client that I want them, someone that needs insurance, someone that is looking for more affordable insurance, someone that's, thinking outside the box and not just the standard way of doing it. Because the standard way of doing things doesn't get you the type of insurance, and it leaves a major financial gap in your financial plan without having the appropriate health insurance that can really, help with, anything major that happens other than just the regular checkups. And we never know when that might happen. And so you really need to have that insurance in order to do it. Then you want to ask, who do you know? And again, for all of you, you guys are very good. That's why this is the advanced course of sales that you're already getting referrals. You're good. It's just about you tweaking it and you just changing, maybe, adding a little notion like thanking them first, or like sharing your goal and softening the way that you share that goal. I'd like to serve at least 200 people in 2017, and with your help, I could do that. And then being more concise and precise on, what is my ideal client? And so who do you know? And then importantly, ask for a personal introduction. And so what this is you typically just don't want a name and a number. It would be great if they could pick up the phone right then and call them and talk with them. And basically the discussion is, hey, I know Walter, who has some amazing insurance that really can give you the hospitals, the doctors you want. It's affordable. And I know you were looking for insurance. Would you be willing to talk to Walter? And then they say, sure, I'd love to talk to Walter. And then they say, hey, well, he's a great guy, and I'll have him call you. And so by getting that personal introduction, what it does is when you talk to that prospect, you're no longer in a sales mode. You're more in a service mode, because they already trust you to some degree. They trust you. Why? Because someone else said something good about you, your product, and your service. And when a third party does it, because all of us will say, hey, we're the best, I got the best product, et cetera. So everybody's going to say that. But when I have a trusted friend or an associate or colleague, and so, who are the people that they know? And when you're looking at the ideal client, you maybe want to ask them on the different areas of people that they can look at. So going back to that ideal client, that, who do you know in your so who do you know? And so in the next one under ideal client, who do you know? Who do you know in your family? So maybe you can just start out by breaking it up. Who do you know in your family? Who do you know that you work with? Okay. Who do you know that is maybe a client of yours? So family, who do you have, what friends do you have? And they'll maybe be thinking, oh yeah, I just was watching the football game. So help them to help you to get that ideal client is not just identifying the parameters of the ideal client, but helping them think of the 250 plus people that they know and put it into these subcategories of family, who they work with, their clients, their friends, and any other categories that you can. Who do you know in your industry? That it might be. And this is a great way in order to start opening up that discussion and for them to help you with that. Because I can guarantee you that, and so I don't know the exact statistics, but let's just use an easy statistic. Out of every 100 people, that there's got to be, I don't know, what do you think, 20 people at least that are looking for affordable health insurance? I don't know what that number is. It might be 80 in there that, but for sure people that aren't in corporate America, they need it. So whatever that percentage is, but let's say it's 20 people for every 100. Well, if everybody knows 250 people, that's 50 people that you can get out of them, that you can literally get referrals of 50 people from every person that you know. That's a big number. you only need 4 referral partners that would give you really good ideal clients out of the 50, because 4 times 50 is the 200, and that's what we're looking at is, this $200,000 worth of income. So think about that on, oh yeah, I just love the fact that every person to you is like priceless. And so they're priceless not only in who they are and, they're made in the image and likeness of God, that they're also priceless to you with your business, because they literally have, each person has enough people to do about a quarter of your business per year. And again, you'll want more than 4 referral partners, because it depends on the quality of people and, where they are. But for sure that, you would want, maybe it's also income level that you want on your ideal client. And so be taking a look at that, and then hold them accountable. And so what does that mean? That if they say, okay, I'll call George and by, Friday, that you need to make a notation of that and call back your referral partner and say, hey, how did the discussion with George go? And especially if you're looking at, getting into these smaller companies, these HR, maybe owner of a company, and wanting to provide some health insurance. Like right now, I'm bragging on you guys with I'm connected to about 15,000 real estate agents, and that's one of my niche markets. And so I have lots of real estate agents, and, and I'm talking about you guys, and that there's affordable health insurance. So kind of under the Dr. Hank umbrella for my real estate agents is U.S. Health Advisors. And so then typically what I do is I would recommend meeting with them every 2 weeks. Now, we've heard where some of you are meeting with every week, getting referral partners, getting referrals out of them, and you bet, because they're going to have at least, we just discussed, there's probably 50 people that they know, and so you get a couple of introductions every week, and this will help you now to start flushing out more introductions of more people they know as you subcategorize them and say, so who do you know in your family? What relatives do you know? And you'll be amazed. In fact, you'll be amazed the more you think about referral partners, the more that you're going to discover more referral partners. That whatever you focus on, your attention on grows. And as you're focusing your attention on referral partners, that this is going to start growing for you, and you're going to start getting them out of the blue. They're going to be coming out of the cracks of the wood, okay? That they're going to be dropping into your lap. And so you just expect that yeah, I'm going to get some more ideal referral partners that are going to just come flowing into my experience because I am asking for them. And our asking is whatever our thought is. So your thought is thinking about, yeah, I'm going to get these ideal referral partners, and they're going to introduce me to ideal prospects and become ideal clients. And I just love how easy this is and how fun this is and how abundant my life is and how I'm going to be able to leave a legacy now. I'm going to have all the money for my pleasures and my desires and for my joy, that the more that you keep on just filling your mind with knowing that you're it and that you're the one that asks, and as you ask, God, the universe will give you everything that you have asked for. And so so with that, any questions about ideal referral partners? That I have met with, I coach with like people that I've coached with for 7 years, and they continue to grow their business. And even after 7 years, that they'll come back to me and all of a sudden say, oh my gosh, I forgot about this one referral partner. This person's just amazing. And they've always been there, but I just never thought of them. So know that that's going to happen to you this week, where all of a sudden you're going to think about, oh yeah, this referral partner. It's amazing that now, I understand. So this is now open up for you, and we have about 10 more minutes. But I want to hear about this past week's experience on what referral partners you met with, who you're thinking about maybe this week as far as referral partners, what played out well, what didn't play out well, and then identify this week's ideal referral partner. So with that, let's see, Walter, why don't I start with you, and can you tell us a little about, invest like 2 minutes with each of you on tell me a little about how your experience was with referral partners, or really anything that if you want to discuss your professional plan or personal plan and any ahas you had in that, we can use that time as well. So Walter, what do you have to share with us?
Well, good morning, and I apologize for being quite tardy. I did not get the email. I think so. For some reason, we need to just ensure that you got my correct email address again, because I didn't get the email that we were going to start at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we did.
So,
okay. Well, yeah, we'll do that. I sent 3 different emails out on that, and
I didn't get any of them.
wow.
So anyway, I apologize for that, but that's not what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So my my referral partner is first of all, I think a referral partner is someone. A good referral partner is someone who is a reflection maybe of yourself. You know, me being social, I think if they're social, kinds of guys that I would tend to look for.
Yeah.
If they're strong in their faith, then that would be a person that I would look for. So you know, it's much easier, I think, for them to refer me if they know my values and share my values.
Great, you bet.
So I met with my referral partner. His name is Ray Malone, my first referral partner, and
Okay.
Lo and behold, he needed insurance. So he understands the plan. He is signing up on the plan, and then asking for referrals after that was relatively easy. And we talked about some other people that he knew that perhaps would be interested in taking a look at our coverage.
Yeah. Great.
So let's see. As far as goals, let's see. What else do you want me to talk about?
Tell me on who else this week. Who do you think would be a good referral partner that you could go to? Because one referral partner will get you. How many referrals do you think you'll be able to get from Ray?
A few, a month maybe. Maybe
Okay.
I'm one or two a month.
Okay, and so I'm kind of just putting the assumption on that all of us would like to make $200,000 in 2017 or more, and so that would be 200 new clients, and so we need more than that on referrals. So you have about, you know, let's say we need 250 referrals that with Ray, you know, 2 a month and 12, so that would be about 25. So now we need to get 225 more referrals. And how do you, and so we could do that with more referral partners. And we had discussed, and I'm not sure if you were on the line at the time, but we had discussed, like, you know, some of us are getting 2 referrals per week from the same referral partner, which is possible
right.
doing that. So who do you think this week you could identify? And again, when I'm speaking to you, Walter, I'm really speaking to everybody for them to be thinking, you know, about this question on who would be someone this week that you could go and have that discussion with on being a referral partner. And it's a formalized relationship where, you'd be and manage your expectations that you'd like to, meet with them once a week or once every 2 weeks, or call them at least, once a week or every 2 weeks, and asking for referrals on people that you could help and serve. And so who do you think that might be? Who's a good ideal referral partner for you?
So, let me qualify that just a little bit, Dr. Hank, by saying that I'm from the baby boom generation.
Yeah.
And most of my contacts, or most of my friends, are getting to that Medicare age.
Yeah.
But then I do have other contacts as well. One of the ones that I was thinking about that I'm going to approach this week is a gentleman named John Hunterak. He is a independent financial consultant.
Right.
I have known him for many years, and he is probably one of the, I would put him and Dan up as number one and number two in networking. He knows a lot of people. He knows a lot of people and believes in networking, and so he's because of that. That is why I'm going to approach him to be a referral partner.
Walter, I love that, and so this will really help boost your business. And with John, I think would be great. That because of time, let me just say, and we'll move on. But I did want to address that. So your thought about, well, I'm getting to, because I'm a baby boomer, that, all the people I know are getting into Medicaid, whatever, and so they don't need the product. That, do you think that those people know people, or do you think those people, let's start out with, have children?
Yes, and absolutely. And so those are some other opportunities as well.
Yeah, so they know, the point being is that they have family, they have friends, they have, clients, they have fellow work employees that aren't their age that would need that help. And who knows, they may be the best ones of all, because maybe that people that need health insurance come up to them and say, man, are you lucky you don't have to be looking for health insurance, right? Well, so who knows that, but you can make it, you can say, hey, some of these people are gold mines for me, and there'll be another John, Hunterak, that there'll be another great one. So I love that you've identified that ideal referral partner next week. And then let me know, and again, for all of you, this is, that, let's see, someone wrote something in, and you can come in and just talk. I completely missed who it was and what you said.
Dr. Hanks, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Walter mentioned about networking, and as everybody knows, I do a lot of networking groups. We talk about small business owners. They're a big group of referrals for me, especially some of the groups that I'm in. Andy has sat in some of my groups when I wasn't able to be there, some of my network groups, and there are, these are people that are trying to build their business as well, and they know a lot of people. So I'm real big on the networking side of the business.
Yeah.
I have network partners, out of the city. Matter of fact, I was just talking to Patrick about it. I have one in San Antonio that they just sent me a list of names, said, hey, don't use my name, but here's a list, and I sent it back and going, thank you very much, but that's a cold call for me.
Right.
That's not a network. So you want to talk about holding people accountable.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use those until they say, hey, they may go make that phone call. They do the introductions, because I can go do cold calls all day long somewhere else.
Right. So and that's just great, because that takes us right back to, on this page, that personal introduction is what it's all about. And so I just love, Dan, that I think I saw something about King in there, but I don't know what that was. But
networking's king, right? I mean,
right.
I tell people all the time, you need to go and network. I mean, if you're out there networking, you're going to get referrals. That's just one piece of what we do.
You bet. And so, yep, networking's key and king, and then this personal introduction, and you just gave a great example on what you don't want is, I just names don't do me any good. And like you say, it turns into a cold call, and then you're, batting 1 out of 100 or whatever. Even if you're good at it, you're batting 1 out of 20 or whatever. Whereas a personal introduction that you can bat 2 out of 3, you can make 66% or higher, percentage on really having a serious discussion about this and really being able to serve these, and then holding them accountable. And yeah, I can't hold them accountable if you're not going to, have me on that. So I love that, Dan, and I appreciate your input there. That gentlemen, it is 9 o'clock, and so to keep with what our agenda has been to end at 9, that I want to ask that you send me on what referral partner you're going to meet with this week. I love Dan's comment about, he's in networking groups, and I mean, that's all they do, and talk about keeping your focus on networking, that, think about what networking groups, get with Dan on it, whatever, but to develop your professional plan. And actually, yeah, it's a great question to ask your ability to qualify your prospects. So think about that also on to qualify that they're a prospect, and then qualify what they want. And then this idea about, does this meet compliance, that, you want to really start refining what the good answer is, and if you can send me back what your answer is. And then write out, so for personal, that when I say personal, it can also be, it's not just about business, that I care about you guys, and one of the reasons why I do is because I know that when personally you're balanced and professionally that you're balanced, that you're going to be more productive. And so when I talk about personal plan, that I want to hear about, your kids, whatever. And if you don't want some of this shared, just let me know, and I won't, share it at all. Otherwise, if it's really good stuff that I want to share and will help all of us as a team. And then remember to DESC. And so to think about, what can I delegate? What can I eliminate? What can I simplify? And then who do I need to communicate this to, these changes on what I'm going to do in order to be more productive, be more of a master of time management. So your success assignment, review the rest of your motivational assessment. So that's the second part on that. And I would review all that. It has just dynamite information, help you really better understand with yourself. Meet at least one referral partner this week. We're not going to meet until January 9th. And so think about in the weeks ahead, when you're not in your personal life and enjoying the holidays, that I want you to think about referral partners and start attracting them into your life. Develop your 2017 business plan, personal plan, and then contact me with any help. And with that, gentlemen, that concludes. Are there any comments before we get off here?
Dr. Hank, I'd just like to add a few thoughts to this session, if you don't mind. So, gentlemen, as you know, we adjust some things. I'm going to ask Dr. Hank to add a couple of things out to his summary email to you, and I'd like you to write a couple of things down to just be thinking about this. Since there is a section where we're not going to meet for a while, I'd like to put some things in your mind. And this comes from reading your feedback, from reading the assessments, and from listening to the 2 sessions we've been in. First of all, and I'd like, Dr. Hank touched on this, I'd like to also address it from Walter, is remember, referral partners, as you're seeking those, are people that can help you bridge the gap to areas that you don't currently feel confident or have exposure to. So if you want to get into a younger crowd, start seeking some referral partners you can develop a relationship with that can get you to that crowd. Referral partners are great if they're like-minded to you. They're even better if they have different views than you and they can understand the like-minded vision that you share with the product or service that you offer. And so good referral partners are really based around, strengthening the areas where you may feel a little weaker. Another couple of ideas I want you to think about, and I'd like you to write these down. This whole program is designed around helping you do the same thing that we help billion-dollar companies do, and that is developing your brand. We are here to develop your individual business and your brand. And as I hear everybody's feedback in this, the one thing I'd like you to do is focus on who are you? What is your brand? What is your face to your customer? So one thing I'm going to ask Dr. Hank to add to his review email to you, and one thing I'd like you to do, I'd like you to choose a symbol. So for everyone on this call, I'd like you to pick a logo or a symbol or something that you feel most accurately summarizes who you feel you are in your brand, something that you can rally around. The other thing I'd like you to do is think about your introduction to people. As we talked through today, and I heard the feedback on what does the USHA mean to me, what does it mean to other people, what does it do? I want you to think of the 3 top questions that you would like to ask people. Now remember, the world works in 3s. We don't know it. We don't understand it. It's a mathematical and physiological equation that nobody understands. But let me give you an example. Your own USHA brochure, it's not a quadrature, it's a trifold. Your first 3 bullets aren't 4, it's 3. It's flexible, affordable, and secure. If you start looking at the world around you, you understand that we're patterned as a mental society to really think about things in groups of 3. So what would those first 3 questions be? Would it be, hey, look, is your plan doing everything that you want it to do? And this takes me back to the conversation we had earlier with Bill and his attorney, is if you get to that, one of the things that we want to do as advisors is we want to remove the noise, right? We want to remove the minutia. It's your job to go through and understand how to focus that person. So one of the things we do is start at the top and get questions that get their attention to help understand that some of these other things, we can answer those questions, but what's most important. So does your plan do everything you want it to do? And that's really, when I talk to people, that's what I ask them. Does it do what you want it to do? After that, we'll get to the other things, but does it do what you want it to do? And so ask those top 3 questions. And what I'd like you to do is write those down and have those, wrap into what your identity is. This all, again, is summarizing what's your referral, what's your ideal referral, what's your ideal client. And then the last thing I'd like you to think about, and I'm going to ask Dr. Hank to add this in to ask you for this too, is when you get a referral client, one of the reasons people aren't successful with enlisting and then executing a good referral program is that they don't give them the tools that they need to move out there. Most of the people that you talk to that you may see as a good referral client may be absolutely stellar, but they really don't know what message to share with other people. So what I'd like you to do is write those top 3 things you would tell somebody to share about your business. Hey, when you run into this business owner, ask him if there's a chance that he might like to look at saving some money on his healthcare plans that drop to the bottom line. What are those things that you can send them with that help them feel comfortable with that? One of the losses that we get in the effectiveness of good referral systems is that they just kind of get lost in what they feel is chaos. It's not their primary situation, so they don't have the same information you do. So one thing I want you to think about, especially over this holiday period, when you're walking in and running into a lot of people and interacting with people that you've seen from the past or new friends that you make for the future, what is that summary that you can give them? What is that one thing that would stick in their mind to say, you know what, the next time I'm listening to a conversation or I'm hearing people talking about something, this is what I'd like them to share, and then give them my information. You don't want people out there trying to explain your business for you. You simply want them to identify someone's need and be able to make the connection with you. You're the expert. So those 3 things I'd like to add to that, Dr. Hank, if that's okay. I'd like you all to identify a rally cry for yourself. I'd like you to identify a symbol that you think might best summarize your identity. I'd like you to think about what those top 3 bullet points are when you meet somebody for the first time that you would talk about your business. And I'd like to think about the top 3 things that you would share with a referral partner to help create that confidence in them sharing the message forward. That's all I have. I appreciate it, Dr. Hank. Thanks.
That's awesome. Well, I love your love that input, and I'll include those 3 bullet points, and it's great stuff. And so, with that, gentlemen, that I appreciate you, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and please get with me on any questions. Know that I'm regularly communicating with you. And Walter, send me an email so I get your exact email, and I'll put that in there. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Hank, can you stay on it just for a second? So
Sure. And so, gentlemen,
all right.